Why some avoidant people regret breaking up with their partner. In this video, I will also explain, as a former avoidant, the psychology of people when they break up, when they change their mind. I will also share with you, as a therapist, the actions, the things that you need to do right now if you want to heal, if you want to get back together. I will explain everything after the jingle.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So first of all, we need to understand, and you need to understand, that the decision of breaking up with you was based on fear. Fear of intimacy. They are not able to connect at an emotional level. They are not really good with display of affection, with sex, for example. It doesn't have to be all of them, but some aspect of things where they can't really communicate at the same level than you. The fear of commitment, they don't want to make any decision. They're having a hard time projecting themselves into the future. And when there's a clash between what you want and what they want, sometimes avoidant people might see that desire to connect as neediness. And you might be feeling right now, especially after a breakup, especially if your partner decided to end the relationship, that's your problem, that you're too needy, you're too demanding, you're too emotional. The thing is, it takes two to create a breakup. It takes two for a relationship to drift apart. And so what happens is, you have to understand that an avoidant person, yes, they have a hard time to listen, to understand. There's a lot about empathy, and it's actually relevant for also anxious people and secure people. I think people would benefit of learning how to be more empathetic, understanding the background, understanding why people think in a certain way and why they react and say things in a certain way. And that's why he or she prefer to keep you at a distance from, for example, your friends, from their friends, from their life, really keeping you at a distance because they have this fear of commitment, this fear of intimacy. When they break up, they release that fear. There's no commitment, there's no intimacy anymore, right? The pressure is gone. Very often avoidant people will say things like, it's too much for me. I feel pressure, I feel overwhelmed. And the breakup releases that pressure automatically. There's this sense of release, the idea that they are finally independent. They can do whatever they want, right? And in a way, that's where they feel safe. You know, when you grew up with the idea that you can only rely on yourself, that problems need to be fixed within yourself and not collaborating with others, this is what you value, is independence, is self-reliance. And so they don't have anymore the discussion about your feelings, about what you want, about project, about the future. And at the same time, because they're avoidant, dismissive avoidant, they dismiss emotion. They don't process emotion. And I will share with you a little bit more about my experience of that. When you bottle up emotion, what happens? When you bottle up anything in life, things will resurface later. They will explode at some stage. And so the feeling of sadness, the grieving process that you're experiencing right now, for example, they will have it at a later stage. Now, they will have it, and it's very important. It's actually put a small font, but it's very important. This applies. They will feel the loss. They will feel the grief if they had the feelings for you, if they loved you. And so you can really differentiate relationship where they feel like, I'm not in love with you anymore, with the relationships where they say things, it's too much for me, it's too much pressure, I'm overwhelmed, and I can't give you what you want. These are two different things. If you want to assess whether you are in the trying to rescue something when the person is not in love with you anymore, versus the situation where it's just a question of attachment clash, have a look. There's a quiz to know if you have any chance of getting back with your ex in the description of this video. It's very important to assess this because sometimes people feel that by watching some videos online, listening to some coaches or whatnot, they will make their ex fall in love with them again. by experience, it doesn't work like this. And if you hire me to get your ex to fall in love with you again, I will not want to help you because I can't. And it doesn't work like this. My job is to repair, or not repair, to create new foundation, but love needs to be there, right? And very often people break up and they're still in love, and that's probably the case with you. And so the curse or the paradox for avoidant people is that there's this desire for intimacy. Remember that we all have a deep need to be attached to a primary attachment figure. And at the same time, there's this fear of becoming too dependent. And so they will always have this balance between closeness and feeling and having the fear of being vulnerable, of being dependent on someone. Always this balance. And if I look at my personal case, you have this realization when you reach 30 years old, when you get older and you see people around you settling in, having kids, raising, having family, etc. You feel like, oh, hold on. Maybe I need to do something about me. So what you have to analyze, or what you have to understand, is this is an internal battle. You won't see any signs, any external signs very quickly, clearly. What would happen is that they might distract themselves. So starting a new relationship, they might go out, starting, being addicted to something. So being partying, drinking, working. Very often people who have an avoidant attachment style after a breakup, they really put themselves at work and they work long hours, they stay at work late just because they don't want to deal with the pain. It's very frequent for that. And so they will also rationalize their decision by focusing on the little imperfections. It's very frequent for avoidant people to really feel like, okay, that was the right decision because she wanted me to empty the dishwasher when it was done. And honestly, that could be these kind of things. And I don't want to empty the dishwasher. And that's my thing. And so they will rationalize this like, yes, I don't want to be with someone who's too controlling. And they will sort of, based on those little experiences, little disagreement, create a narrative that makes them feel, okay, I made the right decision. But how would you know whether you're fighting, whether you should give up, whether you should move on? In a way, if you're asking the question, two cases. Either it's too early, so you just broke up and your partner, your ex, didn't have time to process the breakup, to really grieve, and as we discussed, it comes after for them. Or they're just not into you anymore, and that refers to my point before. It's very important for you to assess if there are feelings, if this person was in love with you when they break up. Never fear the fact that you will never be in touch with them. You will be in touch if that person had feelings for you. If that relationship was different, your ex will be in touch with you at some stage. Whether you break no contact or not, it depends, but for sure, I always see that consistently. If that person is important and you can look at your stories and the relationship that you had, if that person was important to you at some stage, you will bump into them. You will see them with mutual friends. You will receive a text for your birthday. You will hear from them at some stage. And so again, if they had feelings for you, if they don't have feelings for you and they consider you as you're dead to me, then yes, move on. Stop watching my videos. Stop watching my videos. Watch videos about healing rather than videos about how to get back with an ex, because that's not what you want to hear, okay? So here are a few things about me as an avoidant, as a therapist. Yes, avoidant, maybe that's a hard truth, will make less effort to fix things. They're usually not the ones seeking therapy, asking for help, because that's not how they deal with stuff. And it's not your responsibility to tell them you need to see someone, or to tell them you're avoidant, or to act as their therapist. It's important for you to understand that they might be missing out on this amazing relationship because you had something special. You are loving, you are caring, you want to make it work, you know that there's potential, you know that you can do it. And they might not seeing this. But then it becomes their loss, not yours, because you're watching this video and they are distracting themselves. They are doing other things rather than really take ownership of their decision. When you have an anxious attachment style, there's a temptation to be a fixer. Because you care about people, you want to help. In the context of breakup, sometimes people end up being, I need to help this person because he doesn't know what he wants. He's missing out on the relationship. Well, of course, if he knew, if he realized, we both benefit from that. That doesn't work like this. This is not your role. And even as partners, we should never be our partner's therapist or counselor. It doesn't work like this. So it's very important to understand that at this stage, they have to take accountability and ownership of their life and figure out right now what they want, right? It's very important because right now you're always focusing on what I need to do, and in order to influence them, that's not how it works. Does it mean you have to do nothing? Of course not. You have to do things on healing, about yourself. It's very important right now. It's the only thing you can control. You need to also work at understanding your fear of abandonment or the fear of being alone. By doing this exercise, you will become more resilient. By understanding how you can be more independent, the next relationship you'll have will be more secure. You'll create less conflict, or you'll have less conflict with your partner. And you will feel more balanced. This next partner can be your ex. I'm not excluding this case, but it's very important to do this work. Right now, you might be thinking of how can I fix or change him or her. In the context of a relationship, that happens a lot. When people call me, they're in a relationship, they want to, he needs to do that, she needs to do that. Right now, this question is not there anymore. The only thing that needs to change or improve is yourself. So start with you. And when you start with you, when you start to develop a secure attachment style, your perception of relationship, your perception of this relationship, of the future will change. It's very hard to explain, but it's true that in a way, by learning to be more secure, you change your reality. It's very hard to explain because you have to experience it to understand it. It's when you develop new internal working models, that's how it's called in therapy, your reality changes. Your reality, what is it? Is the thought, is the belief system behind those thoughts. That creates your own reality. Right now, your reality is around pain, is around guilt, is around a lot of negative emotions because you just broke up with your partner, you feel anxious about the future, anxious about your ability to find someone, for example. You need to reframe this, and it's a bit of work, don't get me wrong. But once you do this work, trust me, you won't ask those questions and about your ex, about the potential, about whether you have a chance or not. Things will be totally different. You're changing the whole paradigm, the whole narrative around you and your own reality. I'm not a law of attraction guy, and I actually don't believe in it, to put it very clearly. But I do believe that we can affect the way we see things by being more positive. And of course, after a breakup, it's normal to be negative, and it's fine to cry and be sad and find someone to help you unpack those things. But it's true that the perspective and the way you perceive things will change your life dramatically in a positive way. And I think that's it for today. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comment section. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.